The honourable member for Harbour Grace, Portagrave.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, Deputy Speaker, and congratulations, of course, on your new role. It certainly is great to be back here in the House of Assembly. And firstly, I'd like to start by thanking the constituents of the strong district of Harbour Grace, Portagrave. Of course, a district that I'm very proud of, and I'm very humbled, and I'm very grateful to receive their support again to be their representative. And I'm happy to say, in our past term, working together, we're getting things done in Harbour Grace, Portagrave district. So a big thank you to the constituents there. They're my first priority with this work, and I look forward to working with them, continuing to getting great results. Also, I want to thank my volunteers. And we've all come through, of course, an election campaign. It was held in the spring of the year, but you'd swear it was the fall or the winter because, the snow and the sleet and the rain, the sideways rain and the wind, it didn't stop us, though. We can't sit around, of course, in this province and wait for the sun to shine to get out and to get things done. So, again, a big thank you to volunteers who've come together on my campaign and of course, across the province. And I know, Mr. Speaker, that there was some concern for voter apathy coming up in this election. Well, I can tell you there was no voter apathy in the district of Harbour Grace, Portagrave. We actually had the second highest voter turnout, second to the beautiful district of Cape St. Francis. So again, and thanks to our voters for getting out and doing their part, for our democracy, for Newfoundland and Labrador. Everybody has a stake here in this province. It's our province. We have a beautiful province. In my opinion, we've got the best province in Canada. And let's all work together. As a team, I see the province as a big team. Just as here in the House of Assembly, this is a different climate, Mr. Speaker. Apparently, it's the first time we've had a minority government since 1971. I'm particularly excited to see how this is all going to unfold and work. I'm a political science major in university prior to my journalism, so it's something that I've studied, and I'm very excited to see it at play. And I want to congratulate everybody here. All 40 members here in the House of Assembly, for making it here. As our Lieutenant Governor said recently, congratulations to putting yourself forward, to serve, to step up and to serve the public, first and foremost, that needs to be commended. And congratulations. And I see around the room we've got a variety of talent, lots of great different backgrounds, of course. I want to congratulate the leader of the third party, who's also a friend of mine and a fellow ball hockey teammate. So I look forward to certainly, working with you and members on all sides of the House, the official opposition, and of course my colleagues here on this side of the House. And we're going to work together. I'm confident in that. Every time I've spoken publicly since the election, I've said, I'm very confident that every member who has been elected to this honourable House has been here. They've put their names forward. They're elected here, and I know they're going to do the best, on behalf of the people who have represented them. So on that note now, I also want to recognise our wonderful public servants here throughout the province of Newfoundland and Labrador. It is Public Service Week, and I have a lot of great workers in my district in Harbour Grace, Portagrave, from the Departments of Children, Senior Social Development, Motor Vehicle Registration, which falls under Service NL, also Eastern Health, of course. And for the Department of Transportation and Works, we have a robust depot in Bay Roberts, and I want to thank those public servants for everything they do on behalf of the people of Newfoundland and Labrador, because they're out in all kinds of weather. You take the people who are clearing our roads and doing our road maintenance, especially in the treacherous winter months that we have. So a big thank you from the bottom of my heart to our public servants in Harbour Grace, Portagrave District and across Newfoundland and Labrador. And of course, it's that time of year again. It's not Christmas, Mr. Speaker, but it is budget time. And it's certainly a prominent time of year here in the House of Assembly. It means for a lot of late nights. I want to also congratulate the Department of Justice on putting forward a great estimates session last night. We were here till just before 10 o'clock, actually, Mr. Speaker, getting things done and going through the line. And this is where the transparency and the accountability and the working together comes in. I want to thank the members also who took part in that last night. So we look forward to getting that done. It's going to be a long few weeks, but that's what we're here for. We've been elected to do this work on behalf of the people. Also, I want to talk about something this is very near and dear to my heart. It's a big budget item in this year's budget, in particular for the District of Harbour Grace, Portagrave, and that is the long overdue replacement for Coley's Point Primary School. And those of you who are new, and if you haven't heard me talk about Coley's Point Primary School, you're certainly going to hear this whole session, because of course we heard a lot about it in the last term. And I'm happy to say, Mr. Speaker, it's this government that listening to the people in this region for more than a decade. This school is over 60 years old. We have a bursting population of students. That school's community. Coley's Point Primary School services children from Portagrave, Barraneed, Shearstown, Butlerville, Bay Roberts, Coley's Point. Even some areas, even some kids from Clark's Beach attend school at Coley's Point. And I'm happy to say that construction for the new Coley's Point is underway. $16.2 million has been awarded by this government to the company MHA Holdings, a local Newfoundland and Labrador company. And work is underway. I've been out to the site a couple of times, to view the work that's happening there and to chat with some of the workers on site. Practicing safety, of course, all at the same time. But I'm happy to say things are underway. And now just a little update from the department to inform my constituents in the district of Harbour Grace, Portagrave, the latest on Coley's Point. About 80% of the site work, which is the clearing and the grading, is complete. The contractor is now preparing frameworks for footings, and the concrete is soon due to be poured. And Coley's Point Primary School, as I mentioned, valued at $16.2 million, has been awarded to MHA Holdings. It's a single-story building. It's going to be featuring 16.2 million. That's right, Minister. Featuring 18 classrooms, a gymnasium, a music room, of course, cafeteria, and other required amenities. So we're very excited about this because currently those young students out there are eating in their desks. They're eating in their classrooms. They don't have, a proper cafeteria. But I got to give the credit to that school community, the parents, the teachers, the young students. For what they have, they're certainly doing a lot of great things. For what we have to use right now, the resources that we do have out there. And I also want to commend the people, Mr. Speaker, because, being politicians, being MHAs, we're working directly with the people. It's our job to represent what's important to the people in our districts, our priorities, our concerns. Even if it's, we're not going to be able to grant every wish. We don't have that magic wand that we often wish we have. But our job is to do what we can on their behalf and to be vocal and to work with, our departments, our ministers, members on all sides of the House, because that's what this is about. Ultimately, we're here for the betterment of the people of Newfoundland and Labrador, so I certainly want to commend the people of that region and Bay Roberts. They've made it quite clear this has been a priority for quite some time and it's been overlooked for too long, but I'm happy to say things are getting done and they're happening now, and it's our government that's delivering that new school with the opening date for early 2021. So I can't wait, Mr. Speaker, and I invite everybody who wants to come and be a part of this, because it certainly is going to be a great big deal in the district of Harbour Grace, Portagrave. So we're very happy about that. Also, I want to talk about some work that's been happening on the Veterans Memorial Highway. Oftentimes, Mr. Speaker, the Veterans Memorial Highway makes news headlines, but not for great reasons. Unfortunately, there have been many fatalities on that highway. And just this past week, there was a pedestrian accident. Thank God, I'm told that person is in hospital, recovering. But we need to do more, and we've been listening. The people, that's a priority in this region. Route 75, the Veterans Memorial Highway, and our government has invested over $5 million over this past couple of years. Construction is ongoing, and that's to include rubble strips, include climbing lanes. As we know, the Veterans Memorial Highway is not a divided highway. So it's like a Trans-Canada. The speed limit is 100, but again, it's not divided. So And given its geography and where it's located, there's a lot of moose. Mr. Speaker, I remember one night just last year, actually, when the House was in session in November, and it was a dark night, and I was traveling out on a Thursday evening from the House of Assembly to an event in my district in Harbour Grace, and I came pretty close to a moose. A great big moose was right in the middle of that road. So we have to do our part as motorists, to be diligent and to adhere to the weather conditions. It was a wet, dark night that night. And I can remember I stopped abruptly. I saw the moose. Mr. Speaker, the moose was less the distance was less from you and me away. Actually, that's how close it was. And I stopped and I put on my emergency lights, but the driver behind me swerved out and passed. I stopped for a reason, clearly. And that driver almost hit that animal. So again, we have to do our part to protect ourselves and each other on that highway. But I'm happy to say, safety improvements are being made on the Veterans Memorial. For example, currently work on 14 culverts. They're being replaced ongoingly throughout the summer. The tender for rubble strips is to be issued this summer when the paving is complete. And those rubble strips, of course, that are going to wake up drivers. If it's late at night and they're driving and they veer over to the center of the road, you're going to get that loud noise. That's going to make you alert and remind you that you've got to stay in your lane to protect yourself and oncoming drivers. The grading is expected to be complete in a few weeks. Paving to follow in July, Mr. Speaker, and the climbing lanes. It's a cost-shared project with the federal government, and that's anticipated to be complete at the end of July. So good things happening, and this comes as a direct result of listening to the people. You know, that's what we have to do. We have to listen to what the concerns are. We have to, of course, utilize the officials in each department. They're the professionals that we rely on to provide us with the facts and the information and the best information going forward on how we can improve Newfoundland and Labrador overall. But things are happening. Also moving on now, of course, I want to talk about the Portagrave Peninsula. We've got big investments happening in there now because, as we know, we've got a gem in tourism in Newfoundland and Labrador. It's one of the biggest industries that we have. Everywhere we go, I just was on a flight recently, and I was happy to see an ad, a beautiful ad featuring Newfoundland and Labrador, attracting people to our province. Of course, give the credit, of course, to my colleague, the Minister for Tourism. I know he's very enthusiastic about the videos and about everything that we see in tourism, but it's great to see, you know. It's great to see that when we travel, and what I'm saying, my friend across the way here who's chirping, from the beautiful district of Cape St. Francis, but it's great to see Newfoundland and Labrador featured on these ads and on these videos, you know, the actual Newfoundland and Labrador featured on videos. So it's good to see and attracting people. I mean, everywhere we go, we're known as unique people, and a unique people here in Newfoundland and Labrador. So the Portagrave Peninsula Heritage Society, I'm happy to say, working with my colleague MP Ken MacDonald, who is a very hard worker I got to give him that credit as well for the Avalon, the riding of Avalon, which he represents. Poor Ken, I tell you, he gets around to as many events as he can. And as we know, federal ridings are much larger than provincial districts. But we do what we can. And so together we were happy to announce $154,000 to be invested in the Green Point Lighting Station in Portagrave to develop Portagrave in this particular peninsula as a world-renowned heritage site and tourist attraction. And it's happening. There's some great work happening down there. I invite all honourable members, if you're looking for a place, a staycation this year in Newfoundland and Labrador, come on out to Portagrave. A staycation, invest right here. I mean, there's lots of great parts in our province, to visit. I know I certainly haven't seen the whole province yet, and I mean, we're larger geographically than the Maritimes combined. We're bigger than Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and PEI here in Newfoundland and Labrador, our geography, and we've got, vast glories that we have to celebrate here in the province. So I certainly invite people to come on out and see what we've got going. And I mean, in the winter months, you can come out to the boat lighting, which is happening. This is also a world famous event now, the boat lighting in Portagrave. As we know, Portagrave is a significant harbour, many berths, many ships from, and vessels, the fishing vessels from across our province berth in Portagrave, and the money that comes in over the wharf annually in Portagrave is not to be reckoned with. It's second to none. And you'll even go down any day. You can go down, you have a walk out on the wharf and talk to the fish harvesters, and they can tell you what it's like being on the water and what's happening, what the catch is of the day, and all that fun stuff. So we have a great district in Harbour Grace, Portagrave. Also in Harbour Grace now, a big project that we're looking for, and we know is underway, and we've approved here as the provincial government for the Department of Municipal Affairs and Environment, and has now gone to Ottawa as a cost share, and that's the repairing of Harvey Street in Harbour Grace. Harvey Street is a major thoroughfare through the town, and even through the area there. People all throughout the Conception Bay North region utilize Harvey Street. And at one time, Mr. Speaker, Harbour Grace was going to be the capital of Newfoundland and Labrador until it was destroyed by fire. That was some years ago, but I certainly wish things hadn't, that outcome wasn't the reality, but it is. But Harbour Grace is a beautiful historic town. Lots of great things happening. They're gearing up out there now for their come home year next summer. Beautiful, a lot of history, and I want to commend the volunteers out there, in particular the heritage group that's come together now. They work with the museum, and I'm happy to say that we were able to recently announce just over $21,000 to repair a part of the museum for the stairs at Colston's Cove Stairs. So lots of small projects happening, but you know what? No matter what the size of these projects, it's enhancing our communities. And it's made possible by the dedication of the people in our districts. So I'm happy to say, and I just made that phone call to one of the members out there, of course, on the board for the museum, that is just under $22,000 now in investment to go into to repair these stairs that enhances our museum, because we're expecting a lot of visitors. And another reason we're expecting a lot of visitors to the district of Harbour Grace Portagrave is for the first time in our history, the town of Bay Roberts, another big, beautiful hub, historic town. I argue it's the hub of the Bay, Conception Bay North. My colleague and my friend from the neighbouring district probably would have something different to say, but Bay Roberts is the hub of the Bay. Mr. Speaker, that's right. Here he is. He's hearing me now. But for the first time in our history, Bay Roberts is going to host the Newfoundland and Labrador 2020 Summer Games. And, you know, it's the most prestigious, large-scale event, provincial sporting event that we can host here in our province. You know, the infrastructure, I have to give the credit as well to the municipality, the town of Bay Roberts, the infrastructure that they have. It's a great town. It's a wonderful functioning town. Residents in that town are very happy with the amenities that we have. And I got to say, you know, it's their time, and I'm happy to help make that happen. Again, it's teamwork. It's working together. One of the priorities that the Recreation Director made clear to me upon my mandate when I first became the MHA for the area, you know, Pam, we've applied for years and years to get a games here. We want to host a games here. We've got the infrastructure. We've got the baseball fields. We've got the stadium. We're now building beach volleyball courts. We've got the tennis courts. We've got the soccer pitches. We've got it all here. And there's no reason why, you know, we can't do this. We want to. We're a big sports hub. The neighbouring district of Harbour Grace is also a sports capital in Newfoundland and Labrador, and I'm happy to say it's happening now. I mean, Ian Flynn, my friend and Recreation Director, has presented that application, and by working together with the Minister as well for the Department of Children, Senior, Social Development, I proudly had my colleague out last year. We made that announcement for the Summer Games, and I remember the Minister's words, and she said, you know, I can't believe, you know, we haven't hosted before, because we have everything right here on our doorstep, but it's happening now, and we're getting things done. So thousands are expected to visit the district of Harbour Grace Portagrave in Bay Roberts for the Summer Games next year. And I'm happy to say in this budget as well, the support from our Premier, you know, the departments, we just announced $200,000 operating grant, you know, to support this sporting event here in the district. And it's not just the town of Bay Roberts that's going to benefit, it's the neighbouring communities of Conception Bay North. For example, another great town, Upper Island Cove in my district. They have a beautiful baseball facility down there that we've also helped and supported them in constructing a walking track, not just for the athletes, but for the people of that town, you know, the seniors, the younger children, you name it. Everybody's utilizing this beautiful community enhancement, this walking track, and we're going to be using that ball field for the Summer Games. Also in the neighbouring district over in Pitcher's Pond, the golf tournament is also going to be utilized. You know, the Carboneer pool is going to be utilized. So it's a team effort, literally, Mr. Speaker, and no pun intended there with a team, with a sporting event, but, you know, we're all going to benefit. Tourism is going to benefit. People are going to come to Portagrave. They're going to want to see our new lighthouse, the Green Point lighting station, which is down there. It's becoming an iconic lighthouse here in the region on the Portagrave Peninsula. So again, it's lots of things happening. Businesses are going to benefit. You know, the RV parks are going to benefit. The restaurants out there are going to benefit. And, you know, we have a lot of great things happening, Mr. Speaker, in the district of Harbour Grace Portagrave. And our volunteers, absolutely. It's the volunteers, as my colleague, you know, just mentioned. He often talks about the volunteers in his district as well. But it's volunteers that make these things happen. I mean, money goes a long way, but you need the dedication of the people and the passion, you know, and the pride that they show. So I am very confident that we are going to host a beautiful games, Summer Games. You know, our volunteer base out there is second to none. We've got a great, you know, the chair out there, the co-chair is the principal, actually, of Ascension Collegiate High School. We've also got a good friend, Judy Morrow, who's also co-chairing, and a number of committees and people who have come together. And they're going to put off, arguably, Mr. Speaker, I'm going to say it's going to be the best games that Newfoundland and Labrador has ever seen here at the Summer Games in 2020. Also want to throw a big thank you and appreciation out to our volunteer firefighters. There's not enough I can say about these people, these men and women, these brave men and women, because you know what, when the rest of us are running out seeking shelter and safety, it's these men and women who are running in, our first responders, and we've got great dedicated volunteer firefighters throughout the district of Harbour Grace, Portagrave, and I'm happy, Mr. Speaker, our government also working with those volunteers. Just last fall, our government worked with the town of Upper Island Cove to deliver a new medical rescue fire unit truck, valued at about, give or take, about $500,000. And in Upper Island Cove, they respond to a lot of medical calls because of their unique geography. They also look after the town of Bishop's Cove and Bryan's Cove. So this is a perfect example. I mean, we are definitely following difficult economic times, arguably the most challenging in our history. But in spite of all this, by working together, I'm confident we're getting things done. And Mr. Speaker, things are happening in the district of Harbour Grace, Portagrave. Always an honour to stand here in my place and represent the strong people, the beautiful people of my district. Anything I can ever do to help, please call my constituency office, 786-1372. We're located at 1XL Place in Bay Roberts. Anything we can do to help, we certainly will do our best. On that note, Mr. Speaker, I will take my place and I look forward to debate. Thank you very much.